right? Like I want to understand from you, just really out of interest, in both fronts. And Sketchy, also keen to hear from you. How have you used AI both personally within your work for investments, right? Specifically in your personal finance or personal investments, and how are you seeing it change finance?
It's a very good question. So, kind of using AI to trade. I mean, obviously, you can kind of get into the creating your own bots and your own kind of algorithms to get your own kind of strategy into play, which is great. The only actual real use case that I've seen of AI being used directly in line with like a crypto kind of thing is more from like an educational standpoint. So it's like a lot of people, if they want to create a limit order for some sort of token, it can be a little bit complicated.
What's a limit order?
So say, for example, Solana or Bitcoin or whatever is trading at X price, and I think it's going to go down and I want to buy it at that price.
So if it's at $10 and it might go down to 9, you want to buy it at 9, but
Correct.
it's at 10 now.
It'll
Yes,
only
so
buy
that-
when the price is set
So
at
then
that.
you set your limit order at
To buy at
9,
9.
and then if it reaches that price, then you're in.
Welcome again to the Thinking Out Loud podcast. We're back. We got Kevin and we got our amazing guest, Andrew. Thank you for joining us. Many of you might know Andrew from Locnville, which is an amazing music group from South Africa.
I do. I definitely do.
Okay, so
out.
all our South Africans.
I mean, I
didn't
hadn't
know.
met him before, but I definitely knew about this.
But we're here. We're going to be talking a little bit about finance, a little bit about tech. Andrew, tell us how you went from music to fitting into finance and all of these different things.
So I've actually been involved in both music and tech for a long time. In fact, my brother and our first attempt to make an album was something that we'd invented, which we called the virtual CD, which was like a flash program with music videos, like in this virtual booklet, and it was gorgeous. It was sort of like our idea of how to bring ownership back to artists and everything like that.
Wow.
So yeah, music and tech and finance to me has always been one and the same. So I've always kind of viewed it as sort of one entity, and that's my passion.
Nice. Phenomenal. And like you're working in finance, what part now? And like, how did you get there? I mean, I know you say music and tech and finance is one and the same, but I mean, it's very different. I studied finance, got a bachelor's, did my master's, and we never spoke about music.
No, which I'm sure is the case.
I mean, the closest we could have gotten to is music as an investment, but I mean, we didn't have the privilege of doing that. So like, how exactly do you go? Like, so I know it's part of the tech, but you're working in finance now, right?
Yes.
I mean, we haven't necessarily seen as many releases from you recently, so you're probably more focused on that. Like, what are you doing on finance, in finance? Like, how is it working? And how did you go from really big in the music scene to now big and growing within the finance scene? And what exactly are you doing there? Are you hedge fund manager or?
Well, I mean, no, but I do a bit of trading, kind of in that way, but the way that I kind of see it being one entity is sort of when we got started in music, obviously finance was the kind of end goal. So always trying to find different ways how to marry the two, because it's a constantly evolving business. So you have to keep on the pulse with all of that kind of stuff. So obviously digital finance has been my kind of key thing a lot in the crypto space. And that has been sort of my everyday life now for the past 5 years, which is why we haven't put out anything recently. It's been a game changer for me. I've learned a lot. And I see it 100% as the future of how finance in general is going to go.
So when you say digital finance, is that like fintech, or is that like crypto, or what part of? Because I mean, digital finance is almost the whole world of finance today, right?
Correct.
Any finance company really serious about growth is getting into something digital.
Absolutely, yeah. So the way that I see it, I mean, like, digital finance has been around for a long time. You think about the PayPals and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Even Visa before then, right? Like this is
Right.
This is the first step
First
into
one, yeah.
digitalization of finance, moving away from paper money.
Exactly. And so I was always very interested in that. But then specifically when I got kind of introduced to the world of crypto and all of that, really what really interested me was the permissionless, instant kind of transfer, tokenization of things. I think that's the thing that really interests me the most, which is why. So yes, digital finance is broad, but when I'm referring to it, I'm more specifically referring to the kind of crypto aspect of things and the tokenization.
Web3 stuff.
Yeah,
like
but
tokenization of everything almost.
Precisely, yeah. So RWA, I think, is like the biggest thing that I'm focused in.
These are words that are.
Yeah,
so now you're going into acronyms.
Let's take a step back. Okay, let's take a step back. I'm an investor in cryptocurrency, but I think for many of our viewers, maybe let's just start with what is cryptocurrency.
I mean, what is it? You said a lot of words. Tokenization.
Yes.
You went into
But let's start with
yeah.
what is cryptocurrency?
I would say it kind of depends who you ask. But my view of it, all of these things have a lot of different aspects of it. So if you talk about cryptocurrency, a lot of people immediately think the trading, the meme coins, NFTs, and all of that kind of stuff.
Melania coin.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is not how I view it. When I'm talking about it, I'm actually talking about the blockchain technology specifically. That's where I see the value. And so when I'm talking about tokenization and RWA, which is real world assets, so essentially exactly that, taking real world assets and tokenizing them in a way that makes it easy to transact for anyone.
And how, when you say mention blockchain, what is that? What is a blockchain?
So, I mean, the long and the short of it is that blockchain is literally a distributed ledger. In fact, a lot of people have been now kind of using a different word instead of blockchain, saying DLT, which is distributed ledger technology.
Wow.
And so that is what blockchain is. Obviously, there's lots of different variations of it. And that's what interests me the most is the tech behind the blockchains that run all of these.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, and this is my understanding of the blockchain and what Web3 represents, it's pretty much just this giant list that's got a record of everyone that's ever owned this thing, everyone that owns it today, how much they own it, right? And when they made the transfers.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like the list doesn't necessarily have your names. It's got these addresses, these what do you call them? Like
there's various words, hashes, addresses,
like
yeah.
a list of numbers that say this is your like bank account.
Correct.
The bank account it belongs to. So it's this list that says whose bank account this thing. It can be a picture, it can be a bank account or a bunch of money, it can be a building. I mean, what has it gotten to now? Like, what is the craziest thing in real world assets? Is it?
So, I mean, I've seen a lot of things coming up. One of the things that actually I think interests me the most is tokenization of property and agriculture.
Wow.
Agriculture is obviously...
Oh, is this like livestock? Like livestock
Yes.
owning a fraction?
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. And so I mean, there's a lot of investment going into farmland around the world for various reasons. And I think, that is a world that can be quite inaccessible to those that don't really know what's going on or are not directly involved in that world. And that's what I find really exciting about that whole concept of tokenizing these things is that people who wouldn't otherwise have access can now get access. And I think that is a boost for everyone.
But if we look at these livestock apps, right? If I'm a farmer and I have these cows and I want to let people buy a share of these cows, why do I need to put it onto the blockchain? Why do I need to use cryptocurrency? Why can't I use fiat currency? Why use this blockchain?
You list the cow on the internet. You have an Excel sheet with a line that says, Pete owns 50% and, this person owns 20%. This person, like, you don't need the blockchain. It seems like an over-engineered solution.
So one could look at it that way. And again, I would go back to the accessibility of it. Because when you're making something tokenized, you can get everyone involved. Kids can get involved in investments that they wouldn't necessarily otherwise be able to. And I think that is a win for both the investors from their side as well as where the money's actually going. More money into an industry is never a bad thing, in my opinion.
100%.
So I've been a bit skeptical of Web3 and skeptical of specifically cryptocurrencies. Like it starts with cryptocurrencies. I think I'm less skeptical of Web3 because I kind of understand there are some benefits in having a verifiable as in no one can crack it easily. People can crack it, but not easily. And if they do it, they can't get much, right? So verifiable, safe list of what is owned by whom, always available online. Like I understand the value of that. Sometimes I'm not sure about the application and where it belongs in the right places. Like where should it belong? And Sketchy, I'm actually keen to kind of like understand your point of view here. You said you're a crypto investor. Why you're a crypto investor? I mean, of course you invest to make money in it, but how do you feel confident that this is a good idea?
Well, let's start with you first. I think you asked like 5 questions there.
Well, I mean, at least in my thing. So I understand your sort of reticence about crypto and everything like that. And I really do understand why, because there's plenty scams and all these kinds of things. But again, when I'm referring to these things, I'm not talking about meme coins or trading or anything like that. And of course, there is that aspect, and there is profit to be made, also money to be lost. To me, it's about the underlying technology. So when we talk about these things, I'm talking about things like stablecoins, like USDC, things like that. So we talk about
what's
cows.
a USDC?
So USDC literally stands for US dollar coin. There's plenty other like USDT, which is Tether. But talking about the cows and the blockchain and all that, like that's kind of what I'm referring to, because so say you do have a cow online and you got an Excel spreadsheet or whatever, and people from around the world want to invest or whatever it is, then currencies come into play, taxes come into play. If you want to move money from one country to another, it takes long, and there's a lot of red tape. When it comes to stable coins and these tokenizations of euros or dollars or anything like that, then it's one currency, which makes kind of calculations easy. And the fact that it's the same currency from around the world, no matter what the original currency is, and it happens instantaneously. And that we just haven't seen before. And I think that is such a value add to everyone. To me, that is reason enough to take that route.
That's the value of the technology. And I think, like you asked why I'm an investor. That's one of the reasons I'm an investor. But let's be honest about it. I bought into this very early on. And I started trading a lot. And the trading lost me money. So I stopped trading and I started holding. So holding the currency. Just
as I say, hodl.
Yeah.
Yes, hodl. So I started holding the currency. I buy when it's low. I buy actually regularly when it's low, or whether it's high. I just buy because for me, I have a belief in the technology that it is going to hold value. And even when it drops so far, it still goes up.
But you guys are talking about different things, because you're talking about the technology and stable coins, which are very different. From what I understand, a stable coin, which is exactly what the name would say, it needs to stay 100% tied to the dollar. And the cryptocurrency itself acts as a reserve bank would in the current day. So for example, we're in the GCC region. Many other countries here have pegged currencies to the dollar. They'll do a similar thing to what a stable coin will do. They'll issue more when it gets stronger to weaken it, and then they'll remove some when it gets weaker to make it stronger, so it stays to the dollar and stays pegged.
Right.
And in that, you have to trust, the stable coin provider and the technology behind it that they're going to do this properly. And there's a lot of discussion to make that work. But you're talking about cryptocurrencies, which
I'm
I think
talking
is a
about
little
Bitcoin.
bit different. Yeah,
Specifically Bitcoin.
Specifically
Yeah.
Bitcoin, which
Yeah.
this is kind of very different, right? So Bitcoin, there's a lot that can be said about why should you buy when it's low? Why is it going up? But like, it's not necessarily, it is on the same blockchain technology, but believing in Bitcoin does not necessarily mean you're believing in Web3, right?
Correct.
These are very different.
100%.
Yes, and the sort of utility of the different blockchains is different. I mean, Bitcoin was the OG, and then everything else that came afterwards brought in all the things like NFTs, DeFi, all of that kind of stuff. So at least when I'm talking about the technology and specifically stablecoins and stuff like that, the power of moving money is, I would say, how cheap it is and how quick it is.
Yeah, I agree
And-
with that 100%.
Yeah. And so from that perspective, so I mean, I don't want to be kind of like, selling anything here, but there is a specific blockchain that to me is the one, and plenty companies like Visa and MasterCard have come out and sort of pledged support.
You've even got companies like Ripple out there trying to do this. You've got companies like Solana. There's different crypto companies that are trying to enable this technology, right? Enable this stable money transfer alternative to SWIFT, right? Right now, how it works is you have to go to a bank, and the bank has got a list of, I think they even still send faxes, right? Faxes to other banks so they can receive this and understand where they should move your money, right? And this is something I hold, so the only cryptocurrency I have ever bought into is Ripple at a time where I knew that this is a lot of hype. It was like in 2018. I was keen to kind of get into it. And there was a report on how the use case of money transfer was probably one of the more strong fundamental use cases. And this is how I looked at it. And I bought into Ripple, which of course initially went poorly because
and
the SEC,
and then went very
SEC
nicely.
kind of like came in, and I had bought Ripple and I bought Ethereum at the time because I was buying into Ripple for the money transfer, and it had been backed by banks like Santander. And I had bought into Ethereum because of the distributed contracts, DAOs, right? DAOs.
Yeah, and I mean, they really came up with the first smart contracts, as it were,
Yeah, so I bought into these two. Over that time, the Ethereum went down, and then the Ripple, I think, tripled to make up for the loss. I think it was like 50-50. So it was made up for the loss, and then 50% return. So this was interesting, right? But I find a lot of people making bets on crypto, right? So bets on, this is now down, I'm going to buy it and then hold it till it goes up and then sell it and hold it till it goes down. That makes me nervous, right? I as an investor don't necessarily have the stomach for that because I don't know why this is going up, right? I mean, it's
fair enough.
It has a challenge for me. I think that some people have got the metal to do this. For me, I need to know what is the theory, right?
Yeah, no, which is smart. That's definitely, you want to know what you're talking about. And if I'm going to be completely candid with you, I don't really know what causes a lot of these things. I think it is a bit confusing for everyone, which is why I view it from a different perspective. Yeah, personally.
I think, for me, I'm only holding Bitcoin. And Bitcoin seems to be serving the same purpose as gold. Right?
Yeah.
And
It is.
It's a finite thing. You see, because a lot of other things like the Solanas and everything, and I really appreciate the technology, but but it's a different tokenomic
And
thing.
it's well trusted. It's considered gold because it's so well trusted as.
And there's a finite amount of it.
Yeah.
It's the first one. It's got trust. There's a finite amount. That's kind of why people are still buying into it, and why the price will still. And the Bitcoin price is also tied to the stock market. It's tied to the value of the US market. It's tied to value of different other markets. When those markets do go down, and you see people buying into gold at the same time, if there's
They want the
recession,
safe asset of gold.
It's something to work against recession. That seems to the same way people buy gold. It's a very similar kind of commodity. So that's where I see the value of Bitcoin. But is there because like I'm seeing the value as like something purely financial.
Okay.
Is there like just for Bitcoin? Is there anything that it can actually be used for? Because I don't know.
So yes, it has. I mean, there's kind of been like various forks and stuff like that have dabbled into NFTs, things like that, all of that, which has a bit of hype for a bit and people get involved. But that certainly wasn't the sort of ethos of what it was, and I think that died down pretty quickly. I think as time goes, and people have seen scams and people lose money.
Triple M, and then there's who's that person that launched this like big program and then they disappeared? Like they've like.
Well, I think there's plenty of
yeah,
those.
but there's. I mean, Triple M in South Africa was big. I remember that at the time. Like the Reserve Bank was telling people about it, and then there was a lady from Bulgaria who was like ex from a very famous consulting firm.
Yes,
and
I think I actually read.
I
Something
forgot
about
the
that
name of the
recently.
company, but it's so many famous like just crazy scams.
Yeah, and so yes, there's plenty stories like that, which obviously doesn't make anyone feel very confident.
I mean, what out there is hype? Like, I think everyone's got, as with all these things in finance, anything that involves money, everyone's got a friend, a cousin, someone in their neighborhood that sat and made millions of this thing. Now, I don't know how true this stuff can be because sometimes, it's a nice story to tell. To tell your friends and family that, I sit in the backyard, I do this like, but why are you still here, bro? Like, why are you still in the city? Like you can, like, I know, like you like us, but like, you're in the same house. Like, but like, how do you distinguish the hype? Because even stuff like NFT minting, I didn't get it.
No, fair enough, and I think a lot of people didn't. So I think it's a very good question. How do you distinguish the hype? And in all honesty, I would say in the beginning it's all hype until people realize what it is. I kind of see it like the early days of the internet. Picture Bezos trying to get investors to Amazon, and they're asking what is the internet. It's like It'll take time for people. So yes, there'll be hype. Everyone will try and get in on the rush and make money, like a gold rush, like anything like that. And as time goes on and people really figure out what it's actually used for, then I think the hype will start to die down, and then we'll actually see the real utility of it.
And is the opportunity space in this being the person that sells the axes? Right, you know how they say, like in a gold rush, don't go in for the gold, be the guy that sells it. And it seems like you're selling axes because you're working in the space to build access points to these tools in the technology.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Are you even interested in looking at it as an investment, or is this really like what you see as the opportunity space?
Yeah, so I actually do look at it both ways. So I see. I mean, I don't know kind of how direct we want to be here, but the blockchain that I'm most interested in, I obviously invest in the native token because I believe in the underlying technology. You can tell us what it is and just explain. So Solana is my one. Yeah. Just because of the cheapness and fastness of it. So when it comes to stablecoin transactions, getting Visa, MasterCard on, and all of these kinds of things, there really is only one. It can really only be Solana to actually settle payments that quickly.
Based on their latency, based on the trust and the backing right now, you're saying? Yeah.
Because so if you consider, if you were to do the same thing with a Bitcoin or an Ethereum.
It takes longer.
The time that it takes, the exchange rate has already changed.
But you bought the underlying coin. So from what I understand, it doesn't make sense to buy these underlying stable coins as an investment because the whole point is to keep them flat. Like, what are you investing in there?
If you're looking at it from an investment point of view, then you're playing the market.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, if the price of Solana goes down, let's say, then you buy, and when it goes up, you trade into USDC to keep your investment safe.
You're investing in the technology of it. It's like if there's a company that's doing something well,
it's almost like buying stock. I would say
it's buying stock in a company doing a certain thing. It's a similar thing. Obviously, this is not a company. I don't know. Is it a company?
Well, it's the foundation. So,
it's like Ripple. It's got a trust that manages it and like kind of like issues.
Exactly.
Like they've got an agreement of how it works.
So in my view, investing into it is investing into the underlying technology.
Yeah.
So buying Solana, which is a stablecoin, is buying into the underlying technology.
So Solana is not a stable coin.
Oh, okay.
But the Solana blockchain, I would say, is the best for stable coins because it's such a fast and cheap network.
Wait, so this is something that I'm not tying together. So
Okay.
Solana is the best for stablecoins, but which are the stablecoins that work with it? So you're saying Solana you just use to make an instantaneous transfer at whatever the currency is on the day, right? And this would go from something to something. Like, how does it work? Explain to me this.
So I mean, it's like trading any token. So there's various different tokens on the Ethereum chain, and the same applies for Solana. And so stable coins is just another version of that is pegged to the dollar. If I understand the question correctly.
So wait, so there's like USDC, right?
Correct.
Am I converting that to Solana?
Well, you can if you want to, and
transferring
vice
it on the
versa.
Solana network and then changing it back to you, or how does this?
So like, let's say I want to buy bread,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And I
Really
go there,
basic, yeah.
I go there with my big number bank account, and I want to pay you who has the bread. So what happens? Like, what do I have? Like, do I have dollars here? Do I have?
So actually, and again, there's a few different ways you could do it because the technology is changing so rapidly. So as it stands now, you can get, cards that are linked to your crypto wallet.
So I've
or
got
something.
a card that's linked to the wallet.
Yeah, and then you could go to a store and literally swipe your card. It would take stable coins from your wallet.
Yeah.
A third-party company would then pay the vendor directly with actual money.
Yeah.
They would take the crypto and do whatever they want with it.
But is this stable coin Solana or USDC? And how does USDC and Solana tie together? Like, this is something.
So the only reason they tie together is just because USDC exists on several different blockchains. There's USDC on Ethereum and there's USDC on many blockchains.
Yes.
But I still think that the most valid use case for it is Solana because of the speed and the cheapness of it. So it's like if you're buying your bread or whatever and it costs, let's say, I don't know, how much is bread these days? Let's say $5 or whatever. It's like then if you're using something else and it's taking slow, you're actually going to end up paying, I don't know, $7
Because
or something
the currency
like that.
can move.
Yes, and maybe there was extra gas that you didn't factor in or anything like
By
that.
what you mean by gas, it's just like fees.
Yeah, basically just kind of.
Because I've never paid for my bread with gas.
Yeah, so it's essentially computing power to make sure that your transaction gets to the front of the block. And that's why to me it's an absolute no-brainer that a quicker, cheaper technology will be the future of it.
USDC is a blockchain itself, right?
No. So Solana is the blockchain.
Okay.
Much like Bitcoin would be its own blockchain and Ethereum would be its own blockchain. Then obviously all the tokens are on that blockchain. And yeah, so that's if I'm understanding the question. So yes, there's several different blockchains as we know. Stable coins exist on all of them. But I think that the most valid use case would be the cheapest, quickest.
Makes sense.
Because then you're actually spending it like money.
And these things don't move in value. It stays stable. It's just built on top of this blockchain.
That's correct.
In technology. I understand. Makes sense.
Yes.
You are here. You're based in South Africa, right?
Yes.
And you are here in Dubai.
Right.
Why are you here in Dubai?
To see you.
You're here to see me.
To see my good friend.
Not to see me. Not to see me.
all the way-
This is the first time we met, but yes. As
all
well.
the way to visit our podcast.
Yeah.
But I hear you're also doing something in Abu Dhabi. Can you tell us a bit about what you're going to be doing in Abu Dhabi?
Yes, of course. So going to the Breakpoint event, which is it's an annual Solana event, the biggest of the year. So I'm going with the company that I work with, as well as sort of independently, my brother and I and a team of people, we also build apps on Solana and working on a few things. Yeah, like I say, again, I really see the underlying technology as so much more than just crypto. I see so many more use cases for the technology.
Do you think you're going to see a lot of these use cases showcased at this event?
It's a good question, and I would say the way that I'm viewing it, I don't think so. But certainly the kind of more traditional financial element of it is now the focus.
Okay.
It's like previous years, I think people were still trying to figure all this stuff out, like really trying to figure out what is the use case.
It reminds me a lot about AI today.
Yeah.
Right? Like it actually it's
True.
always
Yeah,
like
true.
people
we're
are
just gonna
learning it.
throw AI at everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna throw I've heard people explain to me how they want to take a property and cut it up into different blockchain, but it's like a single property in a single area with a specific group. I'm like, dude, you should just have an Excel sheet. Like it's like like for what you want, it's probably an Excel sheet. So it sounds like trying to build something. You've got the hammer, you're looking for nails instead of looking for the nails and thinking, is this the right hammer, right?
I like that.
Well, I mean, the blockchain is also providing security for that, right? That
Yeah.
an Excel sheet might not.
No, I get that. I get that. It's just like when you're thinking about it, it's like if you've got one farmer trying to sell parts of like 10 cattle, blockchain seems like a lot. Like it just seems like a lot.
So, Kevin, here's the question though.
Yeah.
Are you an investor in cryptocurrency at all?
No. I've sold all my cryptocurrencies.
Why?
Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
All of my
Tell us
cryptocurrencies.
why.
That's a good question. I would also like to know why. Yeah.
I've sold all of my cryptocurrency mainly because a lot of the Bitcoin, Ethereum, this is something I stay a lot away from because I'm like, there's a lot of noise there. I don't understand it enough. I'm not going to put my money
Makes sense.
into anything I don't understand enough.
And that is why.
This is like my
that's why.
base need. And this is why so many questions. I don't understand it enough, right? I fundamentally understand the use case you're talking about and really buy into this, right? I hadn't looked at it. I hadn't had enough time to look at it again because I was like, I bought into Ripple, bought into this thing. It's up and down. It's a bit crazy. Like I'm looking for something a little bit more longer term, right? And I've kind of got an investment methodology that I'm doing, and like, it could be fun to chat a bit about like investment methodologies and how to do these things because a lot of the stuff is hype driven and people just start piling in.
Yes.
And when that happens, I get very nervous. So this is why
as you should. Yeah.
this is why I'm not into these areas, and it kind of reminds me a lot about the AI space, right? Where I'm working in, where you run the gamut from people that are like, use AI for absolutely everything. I'm like, yeah, but that's like just a calculator. There's this.
It's really hype right now.
Like
Yeah.
there's an API that you can ping that calls an AI model to tell you if a number is odd or even. And
Right.
it's just kind of like a joke thing that does. It's a joke thing just as a show of, in the world, this is how people are thinking about this new tech that is like throwing it at things it shouldn't be at. Right.
Yeah.
And I think I saw some of that within the blockchain because people are like, this plus blockchain. Like, okay, I don't know. Right.
Yeah.
From what you're saying, I understand that. Right. I think that the use case of transferring money around the world is something I felt myself. I didn't see the banks buy into blockchain yet 100%. So I wasn't yet convinced about that this technology as a future because I didn't see it catching on.
Right.
And like in reality, there's only maybe like 5 banks that control a huge amount of these currency flows, right? And if they're not buying into the tech, then it becomes really difficult for this thing to pick up, right? It's great that it's independent. And in the independent space, you get a lot of work. But when these massive systems move, and they take a long time to move,
Yes.
you don't know when they're going to move. They will move, but we don't know when, you don't know how. And they might be trying to build this for themselves on their own version.
Yeah, but they are starting to move now.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
I mean, like big financial institutions have already started adopting this.
Fantastic.
Adopting what?
Like blockchain technologies, like this whole movement of the ETFs coming through is specifically for people that might not understand how to do all this. Kind of like traditional
ETF blockchains or
so
blockchain ETFs or ETFs of blockchain companies listed on the stock market?
ETFs of blockchains and specific tokens.
Token. But this is also something I'm not sure about because that's just like saying You're buying into a basket of things that I would be like, I'm buying into a basket of things I don't understand.
Yeah, right. But the interesting thing is that there is an appetite for that where there wasn't before, and that does show that traditional financial institutions are moving
well, they
into
want
it.
fees, right? They're going to chase where people are
Yes,
interested.
of
They
course.
want fees.
Yes.
You know, so
but
like,
it's
that's it.
but it's interesting to see because obviously. Yeah, like people don't understand it. And so everyone was very sort of hands off, didn't want to go there. But the fact that you see sort of traditional kind of older world investors getting into it, but not
I think
necessarily
institutional investors getting into buying into crypto. This is very interesting.
Yeah, but
this is very interesting.
and they're doing it through the kind of big institutions because they might not necessarily know how to get involved. And that, I mean, to me, that is it's straight up happening right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, I still have to look into it. I mean, I'm not going to
it's like we must all do our
it
own
makes
research.
sense, but I would still want to look into it. I want to understand, right? So I work in AI, but work primarily with, areas outside of finance.
Factoring in variables that may take a bit of time to kind of gather.
More perfect information.
Yeah,
right?
or may not be, very accessible to everyone. So I think like something that interests me, for example, is if you had some sort of platform. Okay, and I know we're not like talking meme coins and all this kind of stuff, but for example, if the AI could detect like a low cap coin, and then sort of gather all the volume that might be going into it. And because it's at such a low, it's like the low side is not very risky, but the upside is highly profitable.
So it's like a high risk, high reward investment.
Correct.
Right?
And I think that
or an asymmetric risk.
and I think an amazing use case of AI would be to quickly gather all of that kind of data that would either take too long for us to see, we might not just even know about it or anything like that. And so almost, like AI kind of making those decisions from data driven.
So what we're seeing, there are some benchmarks out there for AI trading, like just purely on, not on fundamentals, just purely data driven AI trading. Right now, the tools have not been doing amazingly. Like I've looked at a benchmark recently of, like there's like an Alpha Arena benchmark. If you look it up, it's doing just purely technical and almost day trading style. So maybe the problem is day trading, because I know that day trading is really risky,
Very.
right?
I've certainly lost
in
more
general. In general, day trading is not generally a good idea. But 6 out of 7 of the models have lost money, right, in the last month.
Yeah.
But it's a good benchmark over the last month because it's hours-based trade, 7 hours, etc. Right? That's super interesting. Sketchy, have you used it?
So I've been looking at AI for trading on like commercial models like ChatGPT. A few months ago, it was completely open. So you could basically take a chart from a trading app, whether it was crypto or any other kind of commodity. You could put it into it and you could say, is this going to go up or down? Like as simple as that. And
Did it get it right?
It would, before I get it right, it would give you an analysis and it would sometimes ask for questions. So if you're giving it a 5-minute chart, which means it's only showing you the price for 5 minutes, you say, give me the 15-minute chart, give me the 1-hour chart, give me the 1-month chart. It would say other things. It would ask you questions until it got something. And then it would actually give you an answer. Now, whether that answer is correct or not,
It would give you an answer if it's going up or down.
It would give you an answer
Wow.
to that.
Wow.
Now, based on what you've said now with, the trading bots, this is probably using a similar kind of methodology to the trading bots. Okay?
Maybe.
Possibly, right?
Yeah.
What has happened, and you're saying 6 out of 7 got it wrong. What has happened now on ChatGPT, if you try to do the exact same thing. So if you go right now and you take a screenshot of like any graph, the price of gold, put it into it, it will first say, this is not financial advice.
Yeah.
We are not going to advise.
I think it's because the regulators are starting to look into this stuff. Yeah.
And they've
I would
said
assume
that this
so.
is not financial advice. They will eventually give you the same rundown. So they'll start asking, but they will give you a whole paragraph.
Like you have to
on
go
this
through a
is-
process.
And it will also say more onto the education side. So it'll be like, if you'd like to know more of this, I can teach you about this. I can teach you about how you can make these decisions yourself. How can we figure it out? So I do find like with the commercial models like a Chat GPT or any of these kind of AI, they're trying to get people to be more educated and more learn about this themselves, because I think there's a lot of risk involved.
It worries me a lot when people are using AI for investment, right?
It is worrying.
Because first of all, the models are trying to detect what you want and give you what you want. So if you kind of indicate a little bit that you like gold, it might move in that
then it's going to
direction.
kind of like point you to it. Yeah.
The second is it's very confident. Like these models are really confident. To be able to say, yes, it's going up, that is quite the confident answer.
And
right?
sometimes they just straight up lie and hallucinate.
Yeah. And that's really worrying, because you've got someone who's trying to learn, trying to understand, already in a really confusing space, right? Like one of the missions I've had is, or not missions, but one of the gripes I've had with the financial industry is the value that financial advisors provide, right? Now, I think AI is a really positive step in that, like you said, it's focused on education, helping people understand.
Now it is.
Yeah. Helping people understand. But financial advisors historically have been people that have got some really interesting incentives in their background to push you towards higher risk, right? Not necessarily look out for your interest and earn money off how much money they're bringing into their fund from you. And they're not necessarily on your side. They're actually being paid by the funds. They're being paid by the company they work for. Like I'd had when I was living in Cape Town, I just recently graduated with my master's in finance. A guy came to me and he was contacted me on LinkedIn, like, hey, I want to talk to you about your retirement. Went to chat with him, and he had done a 6-month course with one of these fund managers. And he was telling me about his what he was doing before. And he was like, last year I was laying foundations for houses. Now I'm advising people on where to move their money.
That sounds like a very good idea, right? That sounds like amazing.
I was like, and you did what? You did a 6 month. Yeah,
so
I
you
did a 6 month
all
course.
your retirement funds.
And then I said to the guy, and then the first thing he says to me, we don't do brokerage. I'm like, what's brokerage? He's like, I don't know. Like, cool. So you don't do that. So it's something that kind of excites me. Like I'm really worried about the kind of confident stuff and like, give me this thing, give me the answer, right? But I'm really excited by like putting well-researched information in people's hands, stuff like, putting money in passive funds generally in developed markets is better than putting it in active funds. Or in emerging markets, you should put like money in passive funds in developed markets and put some in active funds in emerging, and like just leave it there and hold. And like these kinds of good habits that the AI can drive people towards and help them understand so they can do it themselves. Because the world is becoming more open. Right.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, even with crypto is another indication that, or Web3 technology, the world is becoming more open to each retail investor.
Yeah. I mean, at least the way I see it, I mean, I kind of see like all the kind of fundamental things that the world runs on that at least I grew up knowing is changing right in front of us. It's like, case in point, the financial system. I mean, we already see all of it going digital, and I do think that blockchains will replace SWIFT soon enough.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most outdated part of the financial system right now that you think should change?
Coins.
Explain.
Like physical coins?
Physical coins are terrible. They're
like
heavy.
Notes as well?
Yeah, they're heavy. They are worth nothing. I think it is.
But doesn't
completely
it help with
useless.
doing like an easy transaction? I can give you a note right now. You can give me the goods.
Yeah, so a note is nice and light, and I can fold it up. But coins should be
that's
eradicated.
True. That's true.
Completely.
Okay.
I mean, I'm never the guy that has cash either. Right?
Yeah.
Even
I
notes.
think
are
most people are not.
Yeah.
I saw it today. You had cash, so I was surprised about that when you came to Dubai.
I always like to roll with a little something.
because it helped you with the ease of the transaction, right?
But it's also it's something you can trust 100%. Like, so when you give people tips, it's good to
Precisely.
give it to them in cash. A, because they don't always have access to systems that can receive it not in cash. And B, because if you pay them digitally, you don't know who's controlling that
and it
money.
goes through a whole system. Cash, they can put it directly in their pocket.
Yeah, but you also know it got to them. So like
Precisely.
something I've seen that's also kind of concerning in the world is like when you pay tips with cards, it often doesn't just get to the person, right? I've heard so many stories of people that are really the most marginalized getting money taken out of their pocket from the system. I mean, it's
a
an
problem.
interesting challenge as well. Like, how do you, like, crypto and Web3 is exploding, but barriers to access are going to increase. Now, what do you need? What is the minimum? Like, if I want to get my money through crypto or just transfer money directly to you now, I don't even know what that is. And I've kind of got a degree in finance.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
how are you going to expect somebody who maybe doesn't have a high school to have this? I mean, is there anything happening in the space?
So yes, the biggest roadblock that I think the kind of general market has been experiencing is the straight up user interface of all of this. Because it's true, it is too complicated. It's like, I've been involved in this for years and years and years and years and years, and I'm still learning every single day. I think where things will change is once all of the complicated things become invisible, and that's just a design thing.
But why is it so complex? I mean, this has been solved in some of the toughest markets with M-Pesa, right? Like that's I don't know if you've if you've tried. I haven't tried it, but when I went to Nairobi, it's everywhere.
Kenya, they're using it like that's how they transfer money.
Yeah, you can go to the most rural place and buy some fish from a fisherman, and they're doing M-Pesa.
It's like why has that not come to the crypto space? I mean, it's so simple, right? It's just an SMS, and like surely you can have a crypto wallet controlled by SMS.
Yeah, look, in theory, I guess you could, and there's no reason why there's not an idea there.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but
shit, we gave it out.
but so I mean, I have done like research on these things because it is a good question. I've wondered why M-Pesa isn't in other markets and things like that. But it's also very like clientele driven,
Yeah, that's a good point. And you're working on this right now. How do you get people to trust? Because this is the biggest issue. I mean, I feel like there's the money, but trust is the real currency. Like, are there any initiatives on specifically for your tech getting people to trust it?
I think that there is a massive push to get there, but I think that the sort of powers that be in the crypto world are still come from like the old way of thinking, and I think once it does become a little bit more mainstream and we do start seeing the big institutional players getting involved a bit more, then I think it will by default be taken a bit more seriously and have a bigger run.
What do you think? Like the average person right now, do you think everybody should be buying some kind of crypto at this stage, or do you think it's something that's still too early for people to be putting their money into?
So one thing, I never tell anyone to buy anything. And plenty of people come up to me because I know what I'm doing, and they say like, I want to give you money, and I never. I won't do it because
it'll give me too much anxiety. Right?
Yeah. Because I just won't. So to answer your question, no, I'm not saying buy anything. What I would say is, much like AI or any new technology, try to understand it, learn it, research it. Like actually, if you understand what it is, then you can make an educated decision. So if I'm speaking for me now, it's after I researched it and started to understand what it was like that I did invest into it.
I think a lot of people, especially like you look at the NFT example, there was so much hype about it.
There were monkeys. There were
people that like just were like, okay, this is cool art. I think it's art. I think it's tied to like how people buy physical art. I'm going to buy it as an investment. And then so much of that art or NFTs lost value within a few months.
Yeah.
Or
Zero.
a few years. Yeah. Now, those people just bought into it because of the hype and all that. What happened to NFTs?
So I think it was a few things. So when NFTs first like really kind of became mainstream was CryptoPunks on the Ethereum chain. And because it was
What was CryptoPunks?
so it was actually pretty interesting how it was made. So it was a first of its kind, therefore a new technology, therefore hype. And so essentially the images were created through the mint itself.
Oh, really?
So you didn't know what you were going to get.
So it's almost like a fractal.
Yeah. So the images were created from a bunch of layers.
Did they
and
do
then
that same thing with the I'm guessing what are the monkey ones that they had?
most did do that. It's like kind of like
Really?
generative
Okay,
mint.
so the numbers will determine the characteristics of the image.
Yes, and it can be random, like depending on who kind of programmed the whole thing. But that was the sort of first thing where people were like, hey, this is new, and that
It can be tied to a real world digital thing.
yeah, and it was exciting. It's like creating art like out of nothing, almost kind of concept. And then I think as time wore on, it was a bubble. It got too overvalued. It became all hype, and then people learned that it was overvalued.
But also, you know what's interesting about these things, and that they say the same problem in casinos. The problem is not the people that come in on the first day and lose. The problem is the people that come in on the first day and win. Because they're trying to repeat this all the time, and they think they're just going to win more and more and more, right? So someone made it work. They had a story of how they minted a coin, they earned good money, and they told other people, and the other people were like, "Oh, it's going to work," and then it becomes this huge bubble, and everyone forgets about why they're there.
Yeah,
right.
It's true, and of course, when everyone's euphoric and ecstatic, no one ever thinks that it's going to go down. So and I'd say it's like whenever you feel really stoked about things, sell.
I want to talk a little bit about how you pick a good investment, right? I think that many people, like you say, people come to you, but you're obviously investing yourself, and Sketchy, you're investing yourself. Like we spoke about the process in music, but there's a process in investment. Like how do you pick a good one?
So my thing has always just straight up been research, and that can either be by actually going out and looking for it, or just complete luck. Like I just happen to hear something. For example, like I remember a while back on a flight, listening to the in-flight system and hearing something about Boeing, and a certain airline had pledged to buy all these things. And I remember looking to my brother, I was like, we should invest in Boeing, because like they've literally said that they...
You saw something in the news that made you want to...
This airline has literally said, we are going to buy these planes by 20 whatever it was.
And the stock hadn't moved, or
And of course, by that time, I think it was like 2-3 years, it like more than doubled. So things like that. It's a bit of a gamble. Someone might tell you something and explain it to you really well, and then you're like, okay, that sounds interesting. But the one thing I would always say is just know what you're getting into. If you know what you're getting into, and you can see utility and you can see a future, that's a good investment, in my opinion.
I mean, if you look at people also giving advice where they be like, buy into the S&P 500, like where those are like the 500 top valued companies in the US. People like, buy into that. Every year your money is going to compound at 10%.
Not necessarily, but like on average.
No, that's what they say.
Oh, wow.
That's
okay.
the average. That is the average.
Yeah. That is
exactly what you just said. That could not happen.
Yeah, you
Very
can buy
easy.
at the high, and then you have to really wait. You have to wait.
It just could not happen. Like it could, anything could happen.
There's risk.
So, there's risk in everything. So as safe as a stock or anything is, there's always risk involved. Before we wrap up, what is something that you use every day, you use AI for every day in your life right now that you didn't use it for 10 years ago?
I actually chat to it a lot about nice places to find the perfect weather.
To find the perfect weather?
Yeah, for real. So
Nice.
that's something that I actually got quite interested in for a while, because I really was not liking, extreme hot and extreme cold. So I was chatting a lot to try and find where's the perfect place in the world with the perfect kind of temperature. So that was my most recent use case.
Kevin, what's something in AI that you think our viewers should be using AI for, that's something like interesting or new right now? that they might not know about?
I mean, I can talk about this topic specifically, like how I use AI for investments. And like I use AI to process masses of information, right? And try and structure that information for me to read through and then decide.
Okay.
I think that's applicable in many areas, right? It's like Web3. It's a use case. It's applicable in many areas. But for investments, it's like you said, do your research, use the technology to boil down the research, not do the research necessarily, because you have to be very careful. Like you have to check what it's giving you, but boil down the research to a point that you can understand everything and then make a decision on that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think it's very wise.
Amazing. I think that's one thing that we've been seeing with our episodes. We're on our 3rd episode. Thank you to everybody that's been viewing. Please like and subscribe. And as always, have an amazing time. Have an amazing day. Share the video. And we'll be back very soon on your screens. Thank you.
Tell us what you want to talk about.